Hello everyone, this is Fiona. Welcome back to Creature by Fabi. If you're new, thank you so much for stopping by and welcome. Today I'm so excited to be sharing with you my best 20 DIYs for the 2020. Okay, my best 20 for the 2020. Okay, you got that. So for the first DIY, you will need some mini tags, some yarn, some wooden beads, some paint, and also some Ziploc bag. This one is so simple, quick, and easy. And if you've been following me, you guys know that I really love wooden beads. So I'm really excited about this one because I want to share with you a tip that I recently found out about not struggle painting the little beads. You guys know what I'm talking about. Painting the beads sometimes is not that easy. So here is a quick tip. Use a Ziploc bag and then just add the paint on it and throw the little beads inside and just rubbing around until you got the entire beads covered with the paint. And then use a little box or a little container to throw the little beads on, and then use the blow dryer to dry the little beads. And I think this is the best way. So as you can see, some of the paint going to be stuck on the box, but that's okay because you will find out how beautiful and rustic look you will get with this tip. I just love it. So I did the same thing with the white beads, and now it's time to stream the beads on the yarn. But before that, I'm going to be making a cute tassel. I normally do my tassel by just wrapping around the yarn on my fingers, but here I decided to make it by using a little wooden plank. I had a dedicated video just by making tassels and also wooden bead garlands, so I will leave the link on my description box in case you missed it. So after I wrap the twine or yarn on the wooden plank, I just slide it down to take it off, and then I just make it a knot with the extra piece of yarn that we left on it. And then with another extra piece of yarn, I'm just going to be wrapping around right on the top just to be able to create that look on. Cut the bottom part and just trim it a little bit just to give it like a little haircut. And voila. So as you can see, with the same piece of yarn that we did the wrapping part on the top, I'm going to be just adding a little tag on it just by putting through the little hole and just make it double knot on it, and voila. So now I'm going to be streaming the beads on the yarn just to create the garland. So to make it easy, I always use a needle, but I cannot find it, so I make my own by using a little paper clip, as you can see. So basically the garland is almost complete. All I'm going to be doing is just adding the little tassels in each end, just by making double knot, and then I'm just going to be hiding the knot in between the hole to the bead, just like so. And that is it for this one, and look how beautiful. I have mentioned it before that I really love to use garlands around the house, and yeah, I had to make one for Christmas. Before to move on to the next DIY, I would like to mention that today's video is in a collab with such a talented ladies, hosted by Haiti Sonboul DIY and DIY Beauty and Purpose. I had linked the playlist on my description box below, so make sure you go check it out and get a lot of inspiration from them. So let's get started. Everything is going to be from Dollar Tree as well. Those wooden crates, rollers, love size, some thumb tags, and also some transfer stickers from Dollar Tree as well. So let's get creative. First, I'm going to be removing the plastic of the rollers, just like so, and also I'm going to be sending the sticky part, as you can see. So when I was done with that, I went ahead and give a really good coat of the chalk paint to the pieces, just like so. And then I went ahead and did the same process that I did on the first DIY by using a little bit of the paint. It's not black paint, it's like dark gray. Yeah, basically black. No, it's not. And just give it dry brushes, just focus on the edges. So now the foam part. This is definitely my favorite part, to attach all the pieces together. So I'm going to be using hot glue and wood glue. So now I don't know exactly the name for this. I call two-tier planter because that's what I think it is, but if it's not the name, please let me know in the comments down below. So here I was marking it down to be able to have distancing and just attach it by using the glues. So then I just flip it over and basically did the same thing on the other side, attaching the other roller. So I ended up with something like that, and then I'm going to be attaching the glove side right on the top. And voila, look how beautiful this little two tiers looks. Now we didn't cut the little hole from the roller, so now I'm going to be just using the thumbtacks and cover it. But to be able to cover both sizes, I cut the pointy part just like so, and then I'm going to be doing that, and I hope the video explains better that I do. Hold the tag right on the hole and then cover it with hot glue, and then add the other one on top. Yeah, I think that's how it is. Oh my goodness. So then I'm going to be doing the same thing with the other side and add the more thumbtacks just to give it a nice look. And for the final touch, I'm going to be using those transfer stickers. So I added some on the center and then two on the corners on different or opposite directions. Yeah. And basically that is it. All I did after was added some greenery on it, and I think this little planter came out really cute. But I always want to know, what do you guys think? Please let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to start off by removing the twine on the board. Next, trace the frame on the board with a pencil. Remove the frame and then use the box cutter and also a square to cut the board. This step I have shown many times on different DIYs, so all I do is trace a couple times the lines with the box cutter, bend it a little bit, and voila. And then use some paper and smooth it out the edges, just like so. Now we're going to leave the board on the side for a little bit and remove everything from one of the picture frame, as you can see. Next, I'm going to be attaching the frame on the board using super glue and hot glue together, but you can also use E6000 or any other kind of glue. just like so. I also want to mention that you can use foam board or even the back of the frame as a bottom of the tray. I'm using the board only because I want the tray really sturdy, so that is optional. Remember, this is only an idea, but you can use anything you want or anything you have in hand. So next I went ahead and started gluing the wooden beads on top of the frame until finish the entire frame. Just like so. Next I'm going to be using the other frame and removing everything as well. Next I'm going to be attaching the frame on top of the beads using the hot glue and the super glue. Just like so. Beautiful already. Now we need to add some feet, so flip it over and attach 4 beads in each corner, just like so. Next I went ahead and with the white acrylic paint I give it 2 coats. Just like so, let it dry, and then I'm going to be using the wax and the color antique and a little brush and kind of messing a lot the tray, and then I'm going to use some white paint on top. So don't worry about the way it looks right now. They kind of look messy but that's okay. So if you notice, I didn't really touch so much on the center, so it just light brushes, just like so. Say I'm going to be just giving few brushes with the leftover white paint on top, and look how beautiful this dressing look. I don't know, I think it looks absolutely beautiful. So next I'm going to be use the decal with the word thankful, place it on the center, and I thought something else is missing because I thought it's kind of plain, so I went ahead and grabbed the leaf and draw like half circles on it, and then handwriting a leaf, just like so. Next I'm going to be using the black Sharpie and then filling the inside with a small brush and black acrylic paint. And that is it for this one. I must confess, this is one of my favorites DIY. I love trays around the house, and yeah, beads are my favorites as well, so I had to have one of those. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy. Here are the materials. I'm going to start off by lining the stair sticks using the square and using a pencil to mark where I have to cut, as you can see. Next, I'm going to use the masking tape and make a group to cut them with my miter box. Just like so. Next, I'm going to be using sandpaper and smooth it out the edges. So next, I went ahead and removed the masking tape and line it out again using the square. I also going to be leaving like a small space in between, as you can see, to create that cheap lap look. Just like so. And then I went ahead and grabbed 2 more sticks and also measure it and cut it. So now I'm going to be attaching all the pieces together using wood glue. You can use any glue. You can also use hot glue if you don't want this project permanent. But in this case, I really want this project permanent, so I'm using wood glue. Just like so. And now I'm going to let it dry for 20 minutes. But you can also leave it all night if you like it or if you prefer, but I can wait for 20 minutes was enough for me. So then I just was really careful when I had to paint it. So now I'm going to be working with the windmill. First, I'm going to be cutting the stem and also the front part using strong scissors or pliers, as you can see. Please be really careful when you do this step. You can easily cut your fingers, so if you prefer, you can also use gloves. So next, I went ahead and used a little bit of hot glue and attached the front part back to the windmill to cover that hole. Next, I'm going to be creating the towel of the windmill using the skewer, so stay with me. As you can see, first I create like a triangle using the windmill as a guide on the top, and then I went ahead and attached them using hot glue, just like so. I hold it for a couple of seconds until the hot glue got dry, as you can see. Next, I cut 6 pieces in different sizes to create the tower details. I didn't measure it, I didn't eyeball it, and hot glue them, as you can see. And I ended with something like that. Next, with another skewer, I'm going to be making an arrow, just like so. To create the point part of the arrow, I'm going to be using a leftover thin and just creating like a little triangle, and then hot glue. Just like so. Then I went ahead and cut 3 more pieces, and just to give you a better nice look to the tower, just like so. And then I'm going to be using the antique wax and staining everything, the entire tower, and also the edges of the windmill. And I ended with something like that, beautiful. So I'm going to leave it on this side for a little bit, and my board is dry, and now I'm going to be give you one light coat of chalk paint in the color mineral, and that's how it looks like. Next, I'm going to be distressing a little bit the edges using the antique wax. Now my board is ready, and now I'm going to be attaching my little windmill on the board using hot glue. But you can also use E6000 or any other kind of strong glue. At this point, this frame look absolutely beautiful, and I already have something like that in my home, so I want to make something a little bit different. You want to help me with the voiceover?
Yeah.
Can I finish my voiceover?
Yeah.
Yeah. What mom is doing in it?
Pencil.
It's a pencil, yes.
It's a waffle. Or here. Decorates. And this. Oh, this.
As you can see, all I did was to trace a square on the board and then cut it with the box cutter. I have a little company, so sometimes really take me like 2 days to finish a voiceover. I don't normally share those things with you guys, but yeah, I thought, you know what, let me share a little bit of what is going on in this house. So as you can see, all I was trying to do is create a barn. So I draw it on it and then I cut it. You can avoid this step. You can use foam board if you prefer, or even a piece of cardboard. It would be nice and even quick. But I really like to work with those boards, so that's why I use that. Next, I also create like a little lines on it just to give you more details to the little bar. Next, I went ahead, I used the red acrylic paint, and then I just give it only one coat, and then I went ahead and distress it a little bit with black acrylic paint. Next, I'm going to be using a paint pen, to create those little lines that I did before with the box cutter, but you can also use a little brush and paint. And I also draw a little windows, and then I realized that my little windows draw looks like my kid did it. So I tried to fix it with the ruler. And also I draw a door. Next, with the brown acrylic paint, I'm going to be painting the door, just like so. So now I'm going to be creating the frame of the door using small pieces of tin, as you can see. Next, I went ahead and attached it on the door using hot glue. And that's how it looks like. Oh my goodness, I really love how this thing came out. So next, I went ahead and grabbed some popsicle sticks, and now I'm going to be cutting a couple pieces just to create the roof. And I also going to be using some empty wax, stain it a little bit, and then just use some hot glue and attach it on it. I also handwritten the word welcome. So now our little bar is ready just to attach it on the board. So then I just added a lot of hot glue, attach it on it, and voila. And then I'm just going to be adding a little hanger on the back. So here I was trying to show you so that you can use a little nail, but it still show up a little bit. But if you add a little bit of hot glue after, I think it will not give you any damage to your wall. But I prefer to not use it, and I just attach the little hanger with the hot glue. So that is it for this beautiful rustic windmill with a little bar. So I really hope you guys enjoy. Please let me know in the comments down below. So here are the materials for the next DIY, mostly Dollar Tree items. I'm going to start off by removing the plastic of the rollers and also remove the plastic that come on top, just like so. So next I'm going to be making some arrangements to see how I'm going to be creating my little tray. As you can see, those little wooden home side has like a little stand on it, so I'm going to be placing the rulers on top, as you can see. But I also going to be using two dowels, and there are different sizes to the rulers, so I'm going to be cutting the holes. To be able to do that, I'm going to be just tape it, mark it down, and then use the miter box, as you can see. And voila, there you have it. Next, I went ahead, remove the masking tape and also sand the edges. So now we have all the pieces together just to create a little tray, and this is the fun part. What I'm going to be doing here is just lining the pieces, and then just to make sure that everything is even, so I'm using the square just to, like I say, make sure everything is even, and then just put all the pieces together or attach the pieces by using wood glue and hot glue at the same time, as you can see. So all I did was add the wood glue first and then on top the hot glue. I like to do this way because you don't have to wait until the wood glue gets dry. So this is quick, but you know that at the end the project is going to be sturdy. So that's how it looks like when I add all the rollers. Now I'm going to be adding the skewers. So as you can see, I'm going to be just gluing them in between the letters, just like so. So after I was done with the gluing part, that's how the little trace looks like. Absolutely beautiful already. So now I'm going to be using one of my favorites, chalk paint by Rustic, and give a really good coat on it. At this point you can just leave it like that and looks absolutely beautiful, but of course I'm going to be just dry brushes a little bit just to give you some distressed weather look, and I think it came out absolutely beautiful. And for the final touch, I'm going to be using some thumbtacks on the edges just to give it that really nice rustic but a modern look at the same time. And that is it for this DIY. I think it came out absolutely beautiful, like I say many times already. I just love the way this little tray came out, or I just love trays in general. So for our next DIY is going to be for Valentine's Day. So here we go. Everything is from Dollar Tree and some leftover from previous DIY. So I went ahead and removed that garland on the heart. As you can see, I break it on the process, but it's okay. We're going to be fixing that in just a bit. Add a little bit of hot glue and voila. So now our main item from this project is twine. All I'm going to be doing is just wrapping around the heart with twine, but before that I'm going to be using some Arica rope to be able to cover the little pointy things on it, and also to have better support on the frame, and at the same time cover the color on it. As you can see, I did first on top of the little pointy things, and then I'm going to be wrapping around with the twine by making a little knot just on the top part, as you can see, and then just wrapping around here and there, adding that hot glue just to be able to keep it in place. As you can see, the broken part break again. So now we're going to fix it by just adding a little pieces of burlap, and now I'm going to be adding more pieces of burlap around, just here and there, just to make it look like even and like it's details on it, and not just because we fix it. So now I'm going to be adding more rope on top to be able to cover the rest of the frame, as you can see. So as you can see, after I did the second round with the rope, I have a little leftover, so I went ahead and create a little handle. hot glue it, as you can see, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to be adding a little piece of burlap fabric on the back just to give it more support and keep the little handle in place. Also, I'm going to give you here a little quick haircut, as you can see, and look how beautiful this card looks already. Now this step, you can add the little paper before you wrap and then keep wrapping around, and not like this. But hey, that's how we do sometimes, you know, we improvise. So then with the little galvanized heart, I went ahead and painted a little bit with the black acrylic paint just to give it that like crumb look, okay, something like that, and hot glue it on the center, and voila, there you have it. And I think it came out absolutely beautiful. But let me know what you guys think. So for our next DIY, you're going to be needing 2 large size of tags from Dollar Tree and also a large Easter sign from Dollar Tree. You can use any one you have in hand. It happened to be that I have the Easter one. Some chalk paint and also some antique wax. I'm going to start off by using the square and the pencil and measure the little cute tag. So all I did was just measure it 3 centimeters down, and then you can use the little saw from Dollar Tree, but you can also use a box cutter, and the same way I am going to do. So all I'm going to do is just use the box cutter, trace a couple times the line that we just did, and kind of bend it a little bit, and that is it, to be able to cut those tags. I also use the scissors to cut the excess. As you can see, now I'm going to be doing the same thing with the other one. So next, I'm going to be using the same paper and smooth it out a little bit, and then I went ahead and remove the tag and also the twine. Now we're going to leave those tags on the side and going to be working with the large bunny side. So remove everything. Next, I'm going to be using a Dollar Tree dowel and kind of measure how long it is to be able to mark it, and then cut it in half using the same method with the cutter, box cutter. So next, I'm going to be attaching all the boards together, so stay with me. For this step, you can use wood glue, Gorilla glue, wood glue as well, or any other strong glue that you like. So I'm using hot glue, but I also using the Gorilla hot glue, which is really good. So as you can see, I'm going to start by one side, and then I use the paint paddle to keep it straight, and then I'm going to add in the other half on top. As you can see, what I'm trying to build in here is one of those old toolbox, I think they call, and then it's kind of flimsy as it is right now, but I'm going to be adding the small wooden dowels inside on the corner, and that really give you good reinforcement, as you can see. Next, I'm going to be using a jumbo popsicle stick from Walmart, but you can also use Dollar. So I went ahead and used my Meyer box to cut the ends. So next, I added some hot glue to be able to attach them on the corners of the box, just like so. So I'm going to be doing that with each corner. So I ended up with something like that. As you can see, those ends or those corners really made the box sturdy. Now I'm going to be making the bottom of the box. So for that, I'm going to be using one of those welcome signs. So I'm going to remove everything, and then I'm going to place the box on top and trace it with a pencil. And use the box cutter and do the same process that I did before, using the ruler, and that is the best way to cut board. Just like so. Next, use some sandpaper and smooth it out, and then it's ready to attach on the box. I'm going to be using some hot glue, but like I said before, you can also use wood glue for make this project. So to be able to keep the pieces in place, I'm going to be using some masking tape and keep gluing. I also added more hot glue inside, and then I realized there was like a little gap or little space in between, so it's not like a mess, but I decided to put a little popsicle in there, and yeah, now it's perfect. Next, I went ahead and removed the masking tape, and now we are ready to paint our beautiful box. I'm going to be using the color mineral and give it 2 coats. After the paint was dry, that's how it looks like. Now we're going to be using the wax and the color antique and the little stencil brush from Dollar Tree, and start to give it that beautiful rustic look. So here I'm going to be just tapping a little bit to create like those little dots. So then I just wait like a couple seconds to be able to spread it out. So like that you can see the little dots, so that gives it that really nice old rustic look. You guys know what I'm talking about. And then I spread it out and distress it, as you can see. And so I'm going to be doing that with the entire edges of the box. So I ended up with something like that. Next, I'm going to be using the large dowel from Dollar Tree as well, and painted the same colors, and then I'm going to be attaching it on the box. To be able to have it straight and know exactly where I'm going to glue it, I'm going to be using those little holes from the tags as a direction. So as you can see, all I'm going to be doing is adding some hot glue and place it on. So I went ahead and with the brush I started distressing the inside part as well to give you a better finished look. At this point, the box is beautiful as it is, and you can leave it how it is, just plain. But I decided to create something else, so I'm going to be using a stencil, but you can use poster letters, you can use stickers, you can use anything you want, or just handwriting. I'm going to be using those stencils that I purchased from Walmart, but at Dollar Tree have a similar too. So I used the antique wax and I spelled the word home sweet home, and on the other side I used Dollar Tree stencils, and I used only the arrows, and I spelled the word farm. Next, I used the leftover paint on the brush and kind of distress a little bit the letters. So I also going to be using some thumb tags at the ends just to cover those holes and give you better finished look. Just like so, and then you can decorate this bag however you want it. So here is just an idea. I use some styrofoam, and I also going to be using recycled jars from candles that I used in previous DIYs from Christmas, I think it was, and then use some greenery, some eucalyptus, or another one that I got from Walmart, really inexpensive. So I cut them and I just placed it on the jar, and I think they came out absolutely beautiful. You can decorate it however you want with any flower for any season of the year. That is it for this one, and look how beautiful these two bags turned out. I love it, but I want to know, what do you guys think? I'm going to be using the burlap ribbon with the little dots on it, 2 little frames or canvas, one of those stencils from dollar store as well, some twine, some white paint, and also some black paint. So first I start removing the plastic on the frames, just like so. So next I went ahead and got off knives. You can do it with something else, so be careful with that and remove those small pieces that were on top. Now I'm going to be removing all the shiny part, plastic or paper. I think it's like paper. Yes, it's paper. So the first one was kind of easy to remove it. The second one wasn't that easy. So with the parts that I wasn't able to remove, what I did was just use the same paper, and that was easy to smooth it out to be able to add some paint on it. So that's what I'm showing you in here, and I'm going to be using the white chalk paint, and I used 2 colors on it, just like so. Next, with another 2 small pieces, I'm going to be using the black acrylic paint, and I'm going to give it 2 cuts as well. Just like so. I also use the hair dryer for a quick process. Now we're going to be using the stencil and also the white paint. So I'm going to be painting that really cute love sign in the arrows and one of the little pieces. So I'm going to be using the brush and a little sponge and just tapping around just like so. And this is one of my favorite parts, when you remove the stencil and it looks so beautiful. And then I did the same thing with the other design. There was little arrows on it, just like so. Beautiful. Next, I went ahead and grabbed some of the leftover paint on the brush, and I use my fingers because I don't want to scratch it with the sponge. So to fix the little not complete parts, I'm using that little paint pen, but you can also use a small brush with some paint. So after that, what I did with the leftover paint on the brush, I kind of adding a little bit on the edges, as you can see, just a little bit. Next, I went ahead, added some hot glue, and then I didn't place it on the center. I kind of place it like really low to leave some space on the top, because I'm going to be making a little boat. So nothing special, you guys already know how I make my little boat. So to make it smaller, just cut it in half, just like so, fold it, add this twine on the center, and then I'm going to be cutting 2 small pieces to add it on the center to better finish look, like I always say. And also cut the little fish tail, just like so. So I made 2 of them, and now I'm going to be using some hot glue and add it on the top, just like so. And next I went ahead and grabbed some of the leftover black paint and just tapping around, or just kind of touching a little bit the edges, just like so, just to give you that rustic look. I really love the way those frames came. And that is it for this one. Look how adorable and high-end those frames turned out. I love them, and you can use all year long. So let me know in the comments down below. So for our next DIY, I'm going to be repurposing frames, some mason jars, some jumbo popsicle sticks, some jute twine, some succulents, and some twine. I think I said already. And also some wooden bead, and of course some chalk paint and some antique wax. So I start off by giving a really good coat of white paint to the frames, just like so. Next, I'm going to be using the drill and drilling 2 holes on top of each frame. As you can see, I'm going to be using my square to measure exactly where I'm going to be drilling. So once the holes were ready, I'm going to be creating handles by using some twine and also some wooden beads. So first I'm going to be streaming the wooden beads through the twine, and then I'm going to be placing it on top of each frame. Next, I went ahead and add a little bit of hot glue in each hole, and then double knot the twine, cut it, and then I use the lighter, burn a little bit the twine just to give it better finished look. And then I repeat the same step with the second frame. I love wooden beads in my projects, and I think those handles look beautiful already. So next I'm going to be using the jumbo popsicle sticks. So I'm going to be cutting the end, so to be able to have the exact measure, I'm going to be just flip it over the frame and mark it down and then cut it. So next I'm going to be using the empty wax to stain the popsicle sticks. Just like so. So here I was trying to arrange me first how I'm going to be gluing it, and then I went ahead, add some hot glue, and I start to attaching it all inside of the frame. I glued 5 popsicle sticks horizontal and 2 vertical. And I ended up with something like that. I think they look beautiful already. So I'm going to put it on the side for a little bit, and I'm going to be working with the mugs or jars, however you call it. So next I went ahead and used the white chalk paint and painted the top and also the handle to the jars. So next I went ahead and removed the masking tape and also used a little bit of alcohol to clean the dripping part to be able to have a clean look, just like so. So next all I did was sand it a little bit the edges just to give it that distressed look. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love to use jars on my projects, but I really love those little jars from Dollar Tree. So next all I'm going to be doing is adding a little bit those white rocks from Dollar Tree as well, and placing the little succulents inside, as you can see. Absolutely beautiful. And we almost done with this project. All I'm going to be doing after is using some strong glue, can be E6000 or super glue. So I'm showing here both options, but I ended using the super glue and also hot glue together to be able to have a quick process and show you guys the result. All I did was add them both glues together, attach the jars, hold it for a little bit, and voila. I think they came out absolutely beautiful. I really like the way these projects came. So for the next DIY, here are the materials. You will need a wire basket, some jump rope, a board, and also here I'm showing this pink truck, but I'm going to use only the bottom part, some leftover foam board, some empty wax, some white paint, some twine, and let's get started. Removing the folly clover, the hanger part, and also the tag. Next, I'm going to be using some white acrylic paint and give it just one coat. Right, and now I'm going to be using the square to create the lines. Or I know they have a name, but I keep forgetting. So I'm using the Sharpie, but black Sharpie in this case because the brown Sharpie wasn't working, so I used black, but you can use brown to have a better result. So now I'm going to be using my favorite makeup brush to distress my board. So I'm going to start by doing the edges, just like so, to the entire board. Next, I use a baby wipe and clean it up a little bit. Now with the same brush, I'm going to be just creating those lines on it, just like so, and also wipe it up a little bit. Next, with a big brush, I'm going to distress it a little bit, the entire board. And they look beautiful already. Now I'm going to be gluing 2 pieces and using some hot glue first, and then I'm going to be using 3 popsicle sticks to reinforce. So now the board is ready. I'm going to leave it on the side for a second, and I'm going to be working with a little basket to remove the tag. Then I'm going to be using white acrylic paint. But first that, I'm going to kind of bend it a little bit on the back to flat it out, basically to be able to glue it after on the board. So here I'm going to be using white acrylic paint and just give it one light coat. Now if you find a white basket, you don't have to do this step. But I found black ones, so this is my situation over here. So after that, I'm going to be distressing with the antique wax. So you can use any brush you have. I like to use this makeup brush. It really made it easy. So yeah, as you can see. And I think you hear my baby, he just wake up. And that is how the little basket turned out. I think it came out so beautiful, so rustic. Now with the board, as you can see, we left the 2 holes on the bottom, but now I'm going to be using the drill and creating 2 more holes to be able to hang the basket. So I first mark it with a pencil, just like so, and then I'm going to be making the holes. So next I sand it a little bit. So to be able to attach the basket on the board, you can use floral wire or pipe cleaners or any wire you have in hand. So first I insert the wire on the basket and then just attach it on the board. So next I use the pliers just to twist it a little bit and also cut, and then I use some hot glue and also a popsicle stick to make sure that the basket doesn't go anywhere. Doesn't look that pretty on the back, but nobody will see that, right? So next I'm going to be using the poster letters and spelling carrot patch. As you can see, I'm going to be covering that hole with the sticker, so nobody will know that I was holding there. And that's how it looks like with the stickers on. Next I'm going to be using leftover burlap ribbon and also the brown ribbon that we used in the previous DIY. So I'm going to use the back of the ribbon, as you can see, and then gluing the brown ribbon on top. So next I'm going to be using some hot glue and glue it on the bottom of the basket. And also cut the excess. And voila, I really love that combination of the burlap ribbon with the brown ribbon. So now I'm going to leave it on the side, and with the jumbo rope I'm going to just pulling apart the entire, basically removing the rope. So next I'm going to be using the white acrylic paint and give it 2 coats. Let it dry, and then I'm going to be using the empty wax and distress it a little bit with my makeup brush. Next, I'm going to be using some leftover greenery for another DIY and glue it on the carrot, just like so. Next, I'm going to be using jute twine and just wrapping around a little bit around the greenery part, just to give it that beautiful rustic look. And they look beautiful. Now I'm going to be making 2 more carrots, so for that I'm going to be using some leftover styrofoam, and I just draw it and use the box cutter, and that's how it looks like. They kind of look weird, right? They look like a chicken breast. So then I just paint it with a brown paint, and now with the cotton twine I'm going to be just wrapping around here and there, not perfect, to be able to see the color of the carrot. Just like so. Now with the leaves of the lavender flowers I'm going to be creating the top of the carrot. So all I'm going to be doing is just make a little bushes and glue it on top. And that's how it looks like. Oh my goodness, I really love my carrots. Now we're almost done. I'm going to be using some Spanish moss. So all I'm going to be doing is just cut a little piece of paper, put it on the bottom to not have so much mess. We basically done, just adding the Spanish moss and then added the little carrots on top, and voila! So that is it for
So I'm going to
this
start
one,
off by
and oh
showing
my
the
goodness,
materials.
I just
As you
love
can
it.
see, I pull out my
I
little
just
basket
love
with
the
leftover
way the
pieces,
carrots
wooden
turned
pieces.
out. I
So
think they look
I'm
so
going to pick a
rustic.
few
Also
and
the
see
basket, oh my goodness,
what I can do with.
but like I say,
I also
I
going to
always
be
want to know
using
what
one of
you
those
guys think.
frame or canvas, I don't know, from previous DIY, and also some white acrylic paint and some wax and a color antique. So let's get started. So first I'm going to be using the square to line in those little pieces. They are the same size, so that was a plus for me. So then with the leftover stir sticks, so I mark it down, and then I'm going to be using my miter box to cut them. As you can see, next I went ahead and removed the masking tape, so I always do that to make sure the pieces don't move and it's easy to cut. So I went ahead, then I used some wooden glue and to be able to attach the pieces, just like so. So next I added some weight on top to let it dry for 15 minutes. So in the meantime I'm going to be working with the rest of the pieces. So I'm going to be cutting down those pieces like 3 centimeters. Yeah, so I use my miter box, and there you have it. So I also sanded the edges. So now I'm going to be using the wood glue and attaching on the canvas, just like so. So then when my pieces were dry, I'm going to be using the white acrylic paint, and I'm going to give it 2 good coats on it. So when the paint was dry, that's how it looks like. As you can see, I didn't paint the bottom of one of the pieces. Is because I'm going to be attaching those pieces together, and if I painted and then I used the glue, it didn't work well for me, so I always do that. So then I went ahead, used the empty wax and distressed a little bit just to give it that really nice rustic look. So now I'm going to be attaching the pieces using the wood glue, but I also going to be adding a little bit of hot glue to do the process even quicker. So as you can see, now attaching both pieces, just hold it for a couple seconds and there you have a little chair. Next, I was trying to see what I can do to cover those marks on my frame. So here I was showing a couple options, so but at the end I ended using this beautiful stencil from Dollar Tree and my empty wax. So I stenciled the arrows and also the little feathers, and I also going to be using other stencils and spell the word hope.
And basically that is it for this cute little chair.
I got on Goodwill a while ago, and I paid, I think was like 50
so you can
cents.
decorate it however you want.
I removed one of the pieces inside, sand it a little bit, and then I'm going to be using the white acrylic paint and give it a really good coat on it, only inside.
So I love it. So let me know what do you guys think.
So once the paint was dry, that's how it looks like, and now I'm going to put it back the lid just like so, and I'm going to be using those cute gems from Dollar Tree. There are stickers, so I'm going to be adding all around the edges just like so, and then also outside, only on the bottom. So next I went ahead and paint the entire box with the acrylic paint. I give it 2 coats, and that's how it looks like. So after the paint was dry, so I put it back the lid and then flip it over. So we need to create a little feet, so I'm going to be using those plastic containers from Dollar Tree. Come in the packet with 6, but I'm going to be using only 4, of course. So remove the lid just like so, and then I'm going to be painting in white. So we're going to be using the empty wax, but at first we're going to be attaching all the little feet on it, just like so. Look beautiful already. So now I'm going to be using the empty wax, like I already said, I think many times, the little brush, and just give it that really nice rustic look, the stretch it here and there. So I also going to be playing around with the leftover white paint on the brush, just because sometimes I go so hard with the brush and I did not like it, so I always go back and fix that. And that's how it looks like. I think at this point looks beautiful, and you can just leave it like that. But I want to my bags match with my first DIY, so I'm basically going to use the same stencils and still also some words and the little feathers on it. just like so. And basically that is it for this DIY. After all I did was just kind of clean the mess you know, with the white paint, and also distress a little bit the letters, just like so. So I think this project came out absolutely beautiful. I'm going to be using it on my living room to organize my remote control, because for some reason I never find them.
For my next DIY, here are the materials. I'm going to be using one of those burner cover sets, some nautical rope, some galvanized sides, some leftover board from previous DIY, and also some leftover flowers. So I'm going to start off by removing the plastic, as you can see, and basically I'm going to be using the large cover, but to be able to draw some circles on it, I'm going to be using the small one. As you can see, I'm using the Sharpie marker to be able to draw like half circles here and there to create like a vinyl kind of thing. You will see that in a minute. Okay, it looks like a messy right now, but you will see where I'm going with this. So once I was happy with the little half circles around, I'm going to be creating little leaves on it, just like so. And I ended up with something like that. So now I'm going to be using a little brush and also black paint to fill it up the leaves. You can also use the marker if you prefer. And look how beautiful this looks already. But of course, we always do our best. I'm going to be cleaning that extra messy part with some alcohol and Q-tips, as you can see. Alright, next I'm going to be using the galvanized sides, and I'm going to give it one coat with the black paint, as you can see. So next I'm going to hot glue the little side on the center of the tray. For now I'm placing it on the bottom part, but I ended up placing it on the center, so you will see that in a little bit. But before that, I'm going to be adding the nautical rope right on the edges using hot glue. So here I'm showing that I'm going to be continue doing the second round, as you can see, by using hot glue. But at the same time, I'm going to be creating the little handle by using the same nautical rope without cutting it. Here I'm showing that I'm going to leave some nautical loose to create the hoop, or just the handle, and then hot glue, cut it, and voila, there you have it. So now it's time to decorate our tray, and I'm going to be making a little arrangement by using leftover flowers, as you can see. And at this point looks beautiful as it is, but like I mentioned it before, I'm going to be removing the welcome sign and place it on the center just to have better finished look. I was not happy with the first look, so then on the bottom I went ahead and just add some stickers and spell the word spring. So that's it for this one, and look how beautiful this side turned out.
So first I went ahead and removed the sticker and drill a hole on that wooden leaf, just like so. Also smooth it out by using sandpaper. So next I'm going to be using a tassel that I already have from previous DIY, but I have showed you guys how I made my tassels in previous DIYs. So I will leave that link on my description below in case you missed it. So all I did was just use one of the strings and place the lid on it, and then make a double knot, and then use a little bit lighter just to smooth it out and give it that really nice color. Now with the acorn, as you can see, they are made of styrofoam, so all I did use one of those, a floral pick, and then just poke the hole on it, and voila. So next I went ahead and attached the tassel on other piece of twine, which is the twine that I'm going to be using for the garland. As you can see, I cut the excess, but at the same time I left two small pieces to be able to glue it on it and create that thick surface on it. And next, the fun part, which is trimming the beads and also the acorn. I didn't have any specific design on it. I was just playing around to see how I like better, and I ended up with 2 beads and then acorn, and just keep going the same way. So next, all I'm going to be doing is making a loop with the beads, just like so. You can also finish it and add another tassel at the end, but I want to make something like loop, I think. I don't know exactly the name, but that's how I call it. So before I make a knot, I put the twine through the hole of the bead, just like so, and then make double knot, cut the excess, and then hide the knot in between the beads and the acorn, and nobody will see that. And that is it. That is it for this one. I think it came out absolutely beautiful. I just love so much garlands, with garlands around the house, so every time I can, I make one, and why not? So please let me know in the comments down below if you are like me, crazy with the garlands around the house, and let me know what do you think about this one. Here are the materials: this double pumpkin from Dollar Tree, some ribbons, and also some leftover bamboo skewers that I have from previous DIYs. So yeah, I finally going to use those leftovers, and let's get creative. So I'm going to be removing everything, as you can see, except the burlap. So, and then I'm going to leave that on the side, just like so. So next I went ahead and cut the ends to the bamboo skewers, as you can see. I didn't measure anything because, like I said, this is leftover, so I have different sizes. But that is okay because I'm going to be covered the entire pumpkin with the bamboo skewers. So the way I'm going to be gluing everything in here won't be any order and specific. I was just going to be following the different sizes and just playing around with until finish the entire pumpkin. So I ended up with something like that, and next I went ahead and stainless. Here I was showing two different kinds, but this is optional. I'm going to be using this one that I got on Amazon. I will leave the link on my description box. So next I used a baby wipe and clean it up the excess. So next I'm going to just paint a little bit the edges of the pumpkin using white chalk paint. Just like so. So next I'm going to hot glue the small pumpkin on top. So next I'm going to leave the pumpkin on the side just for a little bit and give a good coat of white chalk paint to one of those galvanized sides, as you can see. So then all I did was use some hot glue and place it on it. All the good times just begun. And look how beautiful this pumpkin looks already. So now for the final touch, I'm going to be making a cute messy bow. I've been loving this kind of bow recently, so you will see me doing this more often. So all I do is cut different pieces of ribbon, but if you have leftover ribbon will be even better. So in my case, I just cut it on half. Fold it on half and cut it to make this thinner strips. So and then I just make like X's in different directions, and then add a piece of twine on the center, tie it on it, and voila. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon, side by side and through and through. No limit to what we can do. And look how cute this bow turned out. So all I did after was just cut the ends and then add a little detail on the center was a wooden leaf. And then I just going to tie it on the top of the pumpkin. I'm not even hot gluing, just using the same twine that I tied the bow and just tied it on the top. Okay, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So yeah, and basically that is it, and I think it came out really cute. But I always want to know, what do you guys think? So here are the materials. So I'm going to start off by removing the lids of the jar, and then I'm going to give it one coat of white acrylic paint. But before I start painting on white, I'm going to be using a little bit of masking tape and cover the front of the jar, or yeah, basically one of the squares on it, just like so. So after I painted in white, I let it dry, and now I'm going to be adding the other color, aqua, just like so. Let it dry, and that's how it looks like. So next I went ahead and removed the masking tape. So next I'm going to be using a little bit of alcohol and a Q-tip to clean that clear part. So now I'm going to be painting that clear space that we just left with the black acrylic paint. Just like so. I'm going to be giving 3 coats on it. So next I'm going to be using a little bit the antique wax and my stencil brush, also from Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to be just tapping around a little bit just to create that really nice old rustic look. Just like so. So next I also going to be painting the leaves with the black acrylic paint. So now the leaves are ready. I'm just going to put it on the side for a little bit and keep working with the jars. Now I'm going to be using those number stencils from Dollar Tree. So next I went ahead and used the pencil and just traced the number, and then I'm going to be using my paint pen to do the outline, just like so. And then I'm going to be using a little brush to fill the inside. Now you can do it normally just with a little brush and just use as a normal stencil, but I found those stencils are kind of difficult to do it, so that's why I think this is the best way they work for me. So yeah. So next I'm going to be using some twine and some wooden beads. So first all I did was give it some white paint on it, and then just strain it on the twine, and then just wrapping around like 2 or 3 times around the jar, just like so. Tied it, and voila. And basically that is it for the first canister set. I think it came out absolutely beautiful, looks so rustic to me. But yeah, like I always ask, I want to know what you guys think. DIY, and I promise you, you will love this one because I think they came out so cute. So mostly Dollar Tree items. So also I would love to mention it that Halloween DIYs are really challenging for me. So I really don't like spooky things, but I promise you I try my best to come out with something cute, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. And at the end I was excited because my kids really love the DIYs, and that really made my day. So yeah, I'm going to start off by removing all the staples from the canvases, as you can see, by using a small screwdriver and a clipper. So next I went ahead and cut the canvas to the frame sizes using the crease it has, as you can see. So now I'm going to leave those canvases on the side just for a little bit, and I'm going to be using the antique wax and staining the frames, just like so. I almost forgot to mention that before I start staining the frames, I sand it a little bit just to give you a better finished look to the frames. And look how beautiful those frames looks already, only with a little bit of empty wax. Amazing.
So now I'm going to glue the canvases on the frames by using hot glue, just like so. So next I'm going to use some thumbtacks and add some on the corners of the frames just to give you some details on it. The frames are ready, so now I'm going to just leave it on the side for a little bit and use those galvanized sizes from Dollar Tree and just give it a good coat of dark pink. I'm using the color Pavement from Apple Barrel, but if you have a black paint, it will be even better. So I went ahead and just painted all. So now my favorite part, I'm going to be attaching those sizes on the canvases by using hot glue, just like so. So once I was trying to attach the word hunter, I realized it was slightly larger compared with the other two, but that's okay. I just place it on top like that 3D look, and I think it came out cute after all. So for the last frame, I'm going to using some stickers and spell 31st October. And that is it for this one. I think those frames came out
the materials and everything from Dollar Tree except this tumbling tower.
Really cute.
Do you believe that I got this one for $8 on a flea market? I was like jumping up and down. So excited, but you can tell by the box. So yeah, and some recycling jars. So first I'm going to be painting the boxes with the white chalk paint, but also with the black acrylic paint. As you can see, the little boxes has like a little crease or lines on it, so I went over with the acrylic paint first and then wipe it up the excess. Once I was done with that, I went over with the white chalk paint, as you can see, but at the same time I was back and forth over the lines just to be able to bring back the darker color and get that distressed look on it. So now it's time to attach the pieces together, and I'm going to be using wood glue and hot glue at the same time. So next I went ahead and add some clippers on it just to be able to let it dry for a little bit. Now in the meantime, I'm going to be using the Jenga blocks and some black acrylic paint. So I went ahead and paint the blocks with the black acrylic paint, just like so.
So now the box is dry and I'm going to be attaching the little blocks on the edges and also in between the seams of the cut to cover that and made it look like it's one piece only, just like so. And look the difference, looks like it's one piece but it's something else still showing up. So I went ahead, remove the clippers, and I'm going to be cover the middle part. Grab 2 popsicle stick, cut the ends and paint it. Add a little bit of hot glue on the popsicle stick, place it on it, and there you have it, a beautiful base. Now we're going to leave that base on the side for a little bit and I'm going to be working with the recycling jar. So you will need some ribbons and also some chalkboard wood sticks. So all I'm going to be doing is just adding a little bit of hot glue on the top of the jar and wrapping around with the ribbon. So I start off with the red one, so I'm going to be doing that with 2 of them. So once I was done with the red jars, I went ahead and did the same thing with the other jar by using the buffalo check ribbon, just like so. So next I went ahead and removed the stands of the wood sticks, just like so. So now I'm going to be making 3 little balls. So here I'm showing how I'm going to make the first one. So by using the red ribbon and also the buffalo check ribbon on the middle part, I added an extra piece to be able to attach the wood stick on it and then place it on the jar, as you can see. And look how cute those jars looks already. So I went ahead and did the same thing with the other 2. And basically that is it for this one. All I'm going to be doing after is placing the jars on the base that we did before, and voila! I just love this project so much. But I always want to know what do you guys think. So I placed few things on it and I cannot be more happy with it. I really love it and it's so simple but it's so cute at the same time. To be needing a wooden little tray and some mini ornaments or anything you have in hand, some little jars, and I'm going to be also using recycled wooden cups from a hot sauce and some flowers. So let's get started. I'm going to be painting the little tray by using the red color, so I'm going to be giving 2 coats. So once the little tray was ready, I just put it on the side and now I'm going to be painting the cup by using the black paint. So I'm going to be hot gluing the little caps on the bottle to create the little feet, but you can also use wood glue. And look how cute this little tray looks. So now I'm going to be using Dollar Tree sandpaper and sanding the edges just to give it that distressing look. So now I'm going to be using one of those red rock ornaments, but I'm going to be just cutting the bottom part, the Merry Christmas sign, and just place it in one side, as you can see. At this point looks just beautiful already, but now I'm going to be using a little bit of white chalk paint and using the bottom part of the brush and just create dots on it. I just love it and I think
this little tray, you can use it for many things. You can even put in there like cookies for Santa, or a little candle, or I don't know, just a little things on the kitchen for decoration. I just love it. So you can use it like that, but I'm going to be making something else just to place it on top. So now for our next project, I'm going to be using those cute jars, and basically what I'm going to be doing is just give it a really good coat with the white paint. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I really love to use jars on my projects, and I have shown many ways to paint jars, but one of my favorite ways to paint jars are using sponge brushes. It's so simple and so quick, and you don't get any stripes on it if you don't want to. So I did that, and then I just sanded a little bit just to give it that distressed look. Now I'm going to be using a little bit of twine and a little bit of hot glue just to wrapping around a little bit, like I said, just on the neck, as you can see. So after I placed the twine on the jar, I also used the lighter just to burn it a little bit and give it that color. I just love the color they give you when you burn it, and I also love the smell. And I put it back the lids on the jar. Now with this cute ribbon, I don't know the name for this cute ribbon, I'm going to be just making two little bows. Nothing special, just two simple bows by using a little bit of twine, tied it on the center, and voila. And then I'm just going to be hot glue them on the jars, just like so. And look how cute those jars looks already. So I'm going to be using those mini ornaments from Walmart, and first I thought I just going to be placed it right on top of the red bowl, but then I thought, you know what, maybe I will want to use it later on. So I just add a little bit of hot glue inside of the jar, as you can see, place the little hanger part, and then just place back the little lid, and there you have it. Look how adorable. So now it's just time to make the little arrangement by using the little tray as well. So I'm going to be just adding some floral picks from Dollar Tree, some leftovers I've been using. I've been having a bunch of leftovers from previous DIY, so I thought, you know what, I want to make a cute arrangement, and here we go. And that is it for this one, and oh my goodness, I just love it so much. I think it came out absolutely beautiful. Here are the materials, mostly Dollar Tree items except the paint and also the ribbon. So first I'm going to be removing the plastic of the little sign, as you can see, and also removing the little block that come inside. Now I'm going to be using this tool that I got on Home Depot. I had to tell you guys I'm not a sponsor or anything like that, but I really love it, and it's so convenient to work with towels and skewers and things like that. So yeah, I'm using two of the large skewers from Dollar Tree, and basically I'm cutting 4 pieces in the same size of the sign, and then a couple more pieces with the same size to the sides. And then I went ahead and just hot glue all the pieces to be able to create like a holder or basket, or yeah, I cannot find a word for this. So comment down below and let me know how you will call this. So like a little holder or kind of thing. So I went ahead and just hot glue all the pieces together, just like so. So next I'm going to be giving really good paint by using the color pavement and also dark gray, just like so. As you can see, the color pavement I'm going to be applying after I did the gray, just to be able to highlight and kind of give it that distressed dark look, as you can see. So I'm going to leave that on the side for a little bit, and now I'm going to be working with those cute wooden jars. So I had to mention it that I'm going to be sharing in here the process, what I went through to be able to remove the paper on it. Honestly, I think it wasn't necessary to be able to remove it, but I want a painting without have a paper on it, so I went over and sanded and removed the most I could. As you can see, I left it like that for a little bit and went over to just to trace it on a simple paper and to be able to have that for later on. But I wasn't happy with the result or the look on the jars, so I went ahead and keep sanding until I thought I would be able to remove the entire paper. So I was having really hard time, so then I opted for use some spray water and started to spray it and try to remove the most I could. So yes, I did remove the entire paper, but as you can see, after I used the hair dryer, you can see the glue on it, and it was really awful. I really don't like it, so I went over with the chalk paint and give it really good paint on. So once that was dry, I went ahead and just add some details on it with a little thin brush and some dark paint. Now for the bottom part, now for the top part, I went over with some vinyl that I have. Honestly, I call vinyl, but I don't know, this paper is like a sticky paper my mom got for me, and I was like, okay, I will find a way to use it. So here I go. So I went ahead and just traced the same shape of the top of the jar, as you can see, and then I'm going to be adding some lines just to be able to give you some details on it and made it look more like lead. So all I did was grab a ruler and a screwdriver to be able to make the lines, as you can see, and then I went over with the darker paint over the line and then just wipe it up just to make it look like a really old lead, as you can see. And look how cute those little jars turned out after all. So now, okay, the back part doesn't look so pretty, but that's okay, we're going to be covered that. So now I'm going to be using those floral picks and just pull it apart to be able to manage it the way I want it, because I want it to look more flat in the back. And so I just cut it out and start to place it the way I like it, as you can see, just by using hot glue, and voila. Now I'm going to be using the paper that we cut before, and then I'm going just to be using some glue stick to be able to attach it on it, just like so. So next I went ahead and cut the excess using the box cutter, and there you have it. So all I'm going to be doing after is just using the same paper to smooth it out the edges and just give it better finished look, just like so. I also add some pine cones on top just to give it more details to the little arrangement. Now at this point you can just leave it as they are, the jars, and I think they look adorable, but I save those little blocks for the signs, and I'm going to be just paint it and then just glue it on the bottom part just to be able to elevate a little bit the jar, and then place it on the holder that we made before. But before we place the jars on the base,
I'm going to be making some cute bows with the buffalo check ribbon and just simple bow. Here and show it another way that I normally make my bow, just by cutting couple pieces just like so, like two pieces first and then a little one, and just make a cross and place the small piece in the middle part, hot glue it, and voila. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So once I was done with that, I just went ahead and hot glued them, and look how adorable. Now we're going to leave those little guys on the side, and do you see this cute retro has like a sign on it? So I went ahead, removed it, and went over the letters with the color pavement just to highlight a little bit the letters, and just to change a little bit the red color on it. So before I had glue it on the base or the holder thing that we did before, I went ahead and just add a piece of twine and basically use it as a hanger, but at the same time I'm going to be hot gluing on the bottom, so the twine is more like illusion that is a hanger. So basically that is it. I went ahead and just placed the little jars on it, and voila. That is it